Hi, my name is Dr. Dharm Sidhu, and today I'd like to speak of a very difficult topic. One of the most difficult thing I've discovered both as a doctor, a naturopathic doctor, and as a mother. When I first started practice 14, 15 years ago, being intuitive, being somewhat sensitive, I noticed that when I speak to patients, both male and female, if they've had experienced abortions or miscarriages, it was as if the body was grieving. To the body, there was a child, and the child is gone. The child has passed. There's a loss. And the body I could feel the body grieving. And then there will be some health issues based on that. And the person may or may not be aware, especially with abortions, we feel more justified. We felt it was the right thing to do. We're clear about our decision. And yet the body was behaving as if I've lost someone. And I was puzzled by it. Sometimes I'll bring it up, especially with miscarriages. It's a little easier to say your body's grieving. It had a child, it died. Um, and then, but I was confused, like, what's going on here? I feel what I feel. I don't understand the logic. I've always had these feelings that I don't know why it ever made sense, to be honest now, but I felt like the soul embodies the fetus at 4 months, so later or something. I can't remember what I believed anymore. And also the strong feeling of choice. A woman has choice, should have a choice. And over time, I believe it was 2016. I was at a conference seminar in Australia, and being psychic, and I was around a lot of other very spiritual and psychic people, I had a flash of an image and I saw my miscarried daughter. And I knew, okay, when I was 13, the result of a sexual assault, that, that heavy period I had was a miscarriage, which at that time, I miscarried in secret. I'd forgotten it to myself, but I saw my daughter. So you can only imagine the shock to my system. And I've had another miscarriage. I lost a son, also in my early 20s. I did grieve him for, I would say, I think 7 months. Like I cried every day before I was then able to conceive my daughter. So by going through my own personal emotions around it and how difficult it is, I still have not grieved and repented for the loss of my children. And it keeps me in kind of a self-punishment place. Every now and then I feel my miscarried son who will come to me and say, Mom, you got to forgive yourself. You're hurting your children because you're not forgiving yourself. So the reason I'm bringing this up to you is to help encourage moms and dads. It's a very difficult journey to go through, but your body knows, your body remembers, or rather your soul knows that you lost children. That in our pain, in our ignorance, in our justification for rage, in terror, we have in some ways contributed to the loss of life. And that the soul has a penalty, but it's for the purpose of correction. It's for the purpose of us to awaken to the pain, awaken to the grief, and with God's help, start to work through and eventually be able to receive God's forgiveness about this. The reason I'm bringing this up is that this causes health issues. The denial of it and the suppression of it, I'm no longer in denial, but I'm still suppressing my grief, my self-punishment about the children we lose from conception onward. So however much I wish this wasn't true, life does begin at conception, and parents do have a choice. Parents can choose to not have the child. It's just that there's pain if our action resulted in someone's death. I mean, that's just this logic to that. And if you can let yourself go through, like you have to go through I felt justified. This was the right thing to do. I made a good choice. It's better for the child to not be born. I would have been, like for me, myself, I would have probably been killed, even though the pregnancy was a result of rape. I would have still been killed. So my terror for my life means that at that point, I chose that I'd rather I live and let the child die. I can say this with a lot of compassion, but ultimately that's what I have to grieve. And I don't have answers. I don't have answers what to do. What is the solution? I feel like this is something that as parents grieve and heal and get God's feelings and God's courage about this, it will probably take a collective effort of millions of people coming together, one by one, trying to resolve and find a new way forward. What do you do with the rape child who's probably too small to carry a pregnancy? What do you do with rape victims? What do you do with, there's so much pain to go through. And it's similar with IVFs. Every embryos you have is a child. So if the child passes, then all of the child is being kept frozen. There's a soul attached to it. And generally, there's a lot of love and care by our spirit guides to help this young life to cope. But I've spoken to many children who have passed from miscarriages, abortions, or other illnesses that happens early because the parents and grandparents, the societal pain is so much coming at the child that life is lost. I've spoken to so many of them. Like I've spoken to hundreds of children who have passed and learned from their experiences what it's like, as much as I feel I can cope. So this is real. And I'm being brave as a doctor to say that abortions, miscarriages, IVFs, the deaths from IVFs has an impact. It has health consequence, and that we can heal. I'm yet to prove that to myself that I can heal. I still feel that I don't deserve forgiveness, which is a self-punishment, but that is also a sin. I'm treating myself badly. That's not helping anybody. Anyway, I will add some link to some videos that you can watch that explain this situation with so much more love and care and truth. And I'll continue to talk about these topics. So I will talk about this with some friends who have done so much more work about healing, awakening and healing to their loss of their children, so that you can benefit from their experiences. Thank you for watching.